Who's there? Water. Water who? What a wonderful day it is today. Hello, welcome. Please come in. Have you ever thought you want meant to be your birth gender? I'm not alone. Most people identify strongly with the gender they are expected to grow up as. But it's not uncommon for a person to identify strongly with the other gender. Sometimes the desire lasts only a lifetime. Sometimes it lasts a lifetime. People who want to live the role of the opposite gender are called transgender. Transgender people feel that the body types and the sex organs that they were born with are different from the gender they want to be. Of course, there are all the reasons in the world why a girl would want to be a boy. Every aspect of life is easier in present-day society for males. But things are rapidly improved for women as a society realizes that the sexes are equal. Two of Japan's social problems. Part of the problem is that social progress along with an increase in the number of women with higher education has led to later and less marriage. Lower birth rate means a decrease in the workforce, and that means more elderly people. Advancements in medicine leading to longer average lifespan have also increased the number of elderly people. Japan is a super aging society, as you know. It's predicted right now that Japan is going to shrink from 126 millions to 88 millions by 2065. If your government isn't able to establish a concrete immigration policy or change its outlook towards foreign workers and consider them as humans that could contribute in the long term to Japanese society, there will be fewer young people to care for the increasingly gray young population that will place an enormous strain on young people. After peaking at 87 million in 1995, Japan's working age population has been decreasing and is expected to fall to 74 million by 2020 and to 55 million by 2050. In Japan, the percentage of women who hold managerial posts stands at only 12, slightly more than South Korea 9%. But for below the figures of 49% in the Philippines, 43% in the US, and 39% in Sweden. In Japan, that nation which is known for having a very strict immigration policy, basically not wanting to foreigners to move in. That may be about to change, with a population now considered super aged and record numbers of babies not being born and the million babies born. Lawmakers are now looking at policy changes that would welcome more foreign workers and blue-collar workers, which is really unprecedented for Japan. Now, if the ruling passes, it would create two new visa categories for these foreign workers. Japan could see an undefined number of high-skilled workers and up to half a million low-wage workers move into the country. Japan's country's demographic decline and society. When you think of Japan, you hear of it as this very xenophobic, anti-immigrant countries. Now the people's perceptions of foreign workers were slowly changing. Japan's always had this very closed-door policy against immigrants, and even though these reforms are said to be very sweeping, there's still a lot of uncertainty around these measures. Many details on how these foreign workers will be accepted into Japanese society. There's a workplace culture that's difficult for foreigners to adapt to. They would have to be proficient in Japanese, and this really is a bit of a barrier when it comes to communicating with foreigners. Japan is infamous for its rigorous work ethic, where people work overtime. The work days are long, people are reluctant to take their vacation. A lot of people from other countries did struggle with some of the difficulties of adjusting to Japanese society. Due to social progress, more women are financially independent. Fewer want to settle down and have a family, and more are choosing to build their own careers like men traditionally have. Men and women are both getting married later for a variety of reasons, including wanting more freedom to be themselves. There's new evidence that in business, it's better to have both men and women on the team. It found that performance with gender-balanced senior investment teams generated 10 to even up to 20% higher returns as compared with funds that had a majority of male or female leaders. So it's all about the balance. Millions of girls around the world are still unprepared for a modern workforce. If we hope to create a world where all women and girls can shine, where women are driving innovation, holding seats in governments and businesses, our leaders must invest in girl educations. As technology changes, the way we live, learn, and earn, almost 1 billion girls lack the skills that they needed to prepare for the modern workforce. I never ever grew up as a young woman believing that my gender would stand in the way of me being able to do anything that I wanted. But on the other hand, protecting against abuse, the abuse of women, how does one make that balance and protect women on what's still a very dangerous world for women? They've been very alive to for sometimes. They have horrific rates of domestic violence, intimate partner violence. Reporting rate has been as low as 9% for abused. We know that dosmetrically we have a significant path to travel to improve those numbers and the status for women. It's actually about basic security for women and underpinned by a simple notion of respect. Respect in the workplace, respect in the home. Every woman has a right to feel safe in their day-to-day lives. Financial security, the ability for women to have the independence, and if they've in an abusive situation or relationships, the ability to move, to live based on the financial security. So working on the fact that we have overrepresentation of women in low-paid work. We have the gender pay gap, pay equity issues. These are all intertwined and we have to take all of it on.